Welcome my beautiful viewer and broski. Today we have gathered in this corner of the internet to discuss necromancy. So let's begin with what is necromancy? It is the practice of magic involving communication with the dead by summoning their spirits as aberrations or visions for the purpose of divination, imparting the means to foretell future events and discover hidden knowledge, sometimes categorized under death magic. The term is occasionally used in more general sense to refer to black magic or witchcraft as a whole. In other words, it's magic connected to death. Screw this, now I just want to play that brand new dark fantasy boomer shooter called Hands of Necromancy II, so let's dive into that instead. And the guy doing the diving today is no other than Slim Bradsky himself, the boomer shooter dad, the daddiest dad of them all. So what do you say we do this? Let's go! Hands of Necromancy 2 is the sequel to Hands of Necromancy 1. Who could have guessed, huh? Okay, now it's a dark fantasy first-person shooter game running on the GZDoom engine, which is a modified version of the good old Doom engine. And while GZDoom is capable of quite a lot of things, this game deliberately stays true to the mid-90s look and feel. It sees us playing as one out of two necromancers. Each character has their own distinct weapons, spells, transformation abilities, as well as personalities. The game will take us through a load of semi-linear levels where exploration, transformation and magic is key to our success. And while there is a story here, it is very minimal. There's no logs or notes or anything like that to pick up, but instead we have a handful of cutscenes, fully voice acted with some gorgeous art for our eyes to enjoy.
It seems like this necromancer didn't manage to solve the problem. I will have to deal with them myself. I haven't fought any monsters in a long time. It should be a fun time. There are so many monsters. This should be fun.
Now let's start this journey at the character select screen. Here we get to choose which one of two characters we want to play as. The problem here, however, is that there is no information on what's unique with each character. I told you guys right before that there is quite a lot of few things that are unique to each character, like their weapons, their transformation abilities and personalities, but there is nothing here telling you that that is the case. So to anyone booting this up for the first time and simply sticking to the one character that they pick, they will never know that there is actually a difference between them. Now, I did know that there was a difference before jumping into this, but I still wanted to emphasize this. Oh well, back to picking which one to play as, and naturally I couldn't decide, so I let the game decide for me. Random it is. And voila! Into the dark fantasy world of necromancy we go. Instantly we're greeted with a dark medieval setting, but spicing things up a little bit are these very nice fellas in robes and serpents here to greet us, offering us to burn to death with their fireballs. But fear not, my friends, because we offer the exact same thing back. And with some tight and fast Doom-like movement, we can outwin these fine folks in robes quite easily. Now, after turning the robes into dust without fire, we set out to explore the first map. What instantly scared me was how the navigation was going to be, because you see, in the first game it didn't work for me at all. I got constantly lost to a frustrating degree, but in this game that is not the case at all. Very quickly we realized that we need to find keys, which again is a little bit like, oh no, this might be hard. But the thing is that the maps are not overly large. They're easy to get a decent overview of, and the game does a good enough of a job guiding you to where you have to go, both with environmental storytelling and some simple "this door is locked, so you better go to the next one." So to get the first key, aka the skull key, we firstly needed to get our first transformation. Alright, spider transformation acquired. Now on to an area that is only accessible as a spider. And open the skull door we did, and in there we met the beautiful gargoyle looking bats, hungry for some necromancy flesh. Up the tower we went, and voila, our first staff, the staff of beautiful ice balls and ice spikes. Oh yeah, all the weapons have alternative fires, and the same goes with the transformations. The transformations actually have 3 different attacks to them, all of them. Weapons-wise, so far we have a melee dagger where the alternative fire is the health-stealing stab that works almost as a Doom chainsaw. Then we have the fireball, whereas the alternative fire is a moving wall of smaller fireballs. And now finally, we have the ice staff, which shoots balls of ice that freezes enemies, and its alternative fire pops up ice spikes from the ground. And if any enemy is stupid enough to walk on one of those spikes, they will get hurt. Now I want to make it clear that I want this video to be spoiler free, but there are still a few aspects that I want to talk about, and this game has a lot of levels, items and weird shit going on, so don't worry, you're not getting spoiled here, okay? So let's jump into the next level. And wow, the beauty of the dark fantasy setting keeps on delivering. It's so beautiful, coupled with what I personally think is one of the top 3, if not the absolute best freaking soundtrack that I've ever heard in my life. And the music that you just heard now, it's really just a little snippet of the insane, mighty, amazing music that this game has, and it mixes it up but always stays dramatic, orchestral-like and beautiful. Now in this level and pretty much all the other levels, the objective stays the same, off to find keys to eventually reach the portal that will take us to the next place. Yet again though, not too hard to navigate, will require a bit of exploration, but it's extremely well designed, so in return it's actually fun to explore and navigate it. And this goes for the absolute majority of all levels, just to be clear. Some are a little bit harder to navigate and others a little bit easier, just as it should be in my opinion. And the objective, well, it stays the same. And that's actually not really a bad thing. It isn't something that drags it down. It offers so much variation with a ton of different enemies, environments, environmental hazards, platforming and differing ways for you to actually acquire the keys needed to progress. So as I said, the objective, it stays the same, but the gameplay changes up quite a lot. We're introduced to this magnificent werewolf creature that, yeah, it's kinda scary, but not too deadly. At least not one at a time. When they bulk up though, oh mama, yep, you will find out in later stages of the game how that goes. But what I mean with one is not so deadly really is that the combat feels exceptionally good thanks to the feedback of the enemies. The small stagger that the enemies get from getting hit gives us the player a fighting chance. The combat is overall on the slower side of things, and the enemies reacting so well to getting hit makes it feel perfectly balanced. I mean, your attacks, they don't fire like Tommy guns, but that's alright thanks to the enemy staggers. So apart from this werewolf creature, we also come across this beautiful little ball loaded with tornadoes. Oh yeah. This ball is a weapon that spits out tornadoes, big and small, and it might actually be the most powerful weapon in the whole freaking game. It melts everything, from werewolves to flying enemies in one go. But be careful, because it also inflicts self-damage if you end up in the crossfire, and that goes for all the weapons in the game. Now a little while after, we come across the next transformation. Are you noticing something here? The pacing is just excellent when it comes to the big new gameplay changing elements. Each level takes roughly 20 to 30 minutes to complete. So say that we are about 45 minutes to an hour into the game right now, and we found multiple new weapons, tons of items and 2 transformations. And now, my friends, we can transform into the actual werewolf itself. Oh, it's lovely. One of my favorite transformation. It has a claw attack, a pushback that also breaks certain walls, and a rage mode that increases the attack speed and lets us see through walls. So before we dive any deeper into the game, let me conclude this a little bit. What is it that is so great about Hands of Necromancy, and what is it that could be better? And let's start with what could be better. First of all, the explanation of things. So the game has a total of 17 different items. Items that consist of potions, buffs, and most of all the resurrect ability, aka the Necromancer ability, which allows you to resurrect your killed enemies, and they will become your friends once resurrected. So when you pick up an item, it will explain it extremely briefly with a small text in the top left corner. But then you select it in the inventory and it will only say its name and not what it actually does. It's almost impossible for someone like me to remember what all these 17 items do. So say that I'm in a pickle and I want to use a buff to increase my damage, well shit, I'm screwed because I don't remember what item does what. And the same thing goes for the character select screen. Add in a short explanation of what each thing does and it would help immensely. Now I saved talking about the Necromancer ability in this section because the friends that you resurrect, they are definitely not the smartest of the bunch. Very often getting stuck and not helping out much at all. And it is extremely easy to mistake them for an enemy, making you waste precious ammo on your friends. So mayhaps tune the friendly AI a little bit and maybe do a green outline on the friendly characters to distinguish them more. But would I rather that they remove the item? Hell no. It is cool as hell to resurrect your fallen foes, no matter if they help you out or not. But there are a few things that I think that the game does exceptionally well. Well, first of all, the atmosphere and setting of the game, the whole dark fantasy theme, it just nails it so freaking hard. With its weapons, items, environments and music, the combat is slow but feels fluid, is both fun and challenging in a fair way most of the time, and it also feels fresh. Way too few games really goes this hard on the magical route that Hands of Necromancy takes. And it just does it exactly how it should be done. The level design is also on point. It's perfectly balanced with the amount of exploration and linearity. You don't feel lost or frustrated often at all. I mean, sure, it happens, but it won't take you long to get back on track. And not getting lost at all in a Hexen/Heretic inspired game, that would almost be wrong. But again, the level, they guide you just enough, coupled with the auto map. But that's not only where the level design shines, it also shines in its complexity. I'm talking verticality, use of different transformation abilities, real-time events happening right before your eyes, and so on and so forth. It's beautiful all around, and I have to give the items a praise as well. They are so much fun to use, and adding on taking the whole necromancy bit to the next level. So is the game worth your time and buckaroonies? Hell to the mother flipping yeah it is. Sure, it has some improvement potential, but overall it is a fantastic experience, and I really crave for more games like this, and I'm so happy that Hands of Necromancy delivers on that and does it so right. And hey, it is cheap. It is under $10, so definitely worth it. For more amazing games like this, hit the subscribe. Slim, over and out.